Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here with another Hunter x Hunter review, and this time I blew through another 3 episodes. So we are in season 3, and as soon as season 3 started, I got hyped because my boy Kurapika is back, aka Chain Gang, and I was so ready to see him do things because he was not in season 2 at all, and I was upset about it. The episode starts with him showing up with a new look, and he is back at the employment agency that rejected him in season 2. He got rejected because he didn't know how to use Nen yet. He met a man that agreed to train him, and within 6 months, not only did he learn Nen, he figured out what kind of aura he had, and came up with his own style. And we get to see a flashback of him doing his training, him learning, him doing the water divination, and we get this chart and an explanation that we didn't actually get for Gon and Killua as far as somebody trying to learn other forms of Nen. It's the same chart that we got in my last episode with the different kinds of Nen, but now we get to see a numerical value of how much you can actually learn from the other ones. It cuts off with him getting into an argument with his master, so we don't actually see what happens at the end of that. But it goes back to the employment agency, and he ends up asking the employer to find him a client with ties to the York New City auction. She ends up finding 3 that don't care about your experience, but they need bodyguards, and one of them was a flesh collector. Basically, they collected body parts, which is weird. But something about that triggered Kurapika, and not only did he agree to go to this place, he was pissed. As he left, he actually passed a very short woman, and she said something strange that she could hear his heart and how much rage was in it, which was kind of weird. But after we see her, she's actually a new character. We actually get to meet a few other new characters. It flashes through them real quick. This girl was a bodyguard, and her client got scared of her because she kissed the dude and gained control of him for a second, and he went crazy. This muscle-bound guy that was writing haikus in the moonlight got attacked, beat some ass, and then we see these two, this guy and this guy, on the actual property that they're going to try and apply for this job. Now, at this job, they're basically required to find a special body part. It's one of I want to say 6 different options they can grab, but they have to find it and bring it here to be able to have the job. And right after that, they all go to leave, try and go start finding these body parts. They get attacked. Somebody breaks into the door, and they get attacked by these hooded figures with swords and guns. And that's where the episode ends. Now, the reason I didn't stop there is because the episode ends on a frame of Kurapika finally pulling out his chains. And I've been waiting for him to start pulling out those chains. For anybody who watched my music reactions, or I've mentioned it before, my nickname for Kurapika was Chain Gang because of Jump Force. And I didn't know who he was. All I know is he fought with chains, and it was cool. And I ended up using him and liking the way he fought. And the name kind of just stuck for me. So, start of the next episode, it starts right on the attack, and as soon as everything starts going to hell, Kurapika flexes, he spins his chain, and blocks a bunch of bullets with it, because he just can. He does some really, really slick dodge moves, ends up on a chandelier above everybody, and you can see everybody fighting from above. He gets attacked by 2 dudes up above, and even though he's on the chandelier, they're swinging at him, trying to get them with their swords. And then he notices that one guy out of the entire group isn't being attacked, and he realizes that this guy is the one controlling them. He does a quick deduction of what he figured out, and it turns out that he was able to tell that there was an emitter controlling all these people, because they were actually not real people. They were Nen in the shape of a person. And again, this was the one person not being attacked, so he just put 2 and 2 together. This guy explains himself, explains that he's a bodyguard working for who they're trying to work for, and they would just, put there to test them. And then he lets out a hint that there's another person among them who's also testing them, and they have to figure out who it is before they can leave. So Kurapika does a thing with the chain. It's a chain with a ball on it, and it's called a dowsing chain. Dowsing, I don't know much about it. I was never really super big into that kind of stuff, but I know that it was used by like fortune tellers and stuff to be able to find things, fortune tellers, witches, things like that. And in his case, he is able to tell somebody's lying because it'll start swinging on its own. So he holds it out, and he asks everybody if they're the intruder, imposter. You know what I mean? He gets to the last person, and it starts swinging. But he's calling bull. He's like, you have no way of proving that's it. But then Melody, the same chick that heard Kurapika's heartbeat, was like, I heard your heartbeat spike up when he pointed to you, and then gently come back down. Signs of the liar. But again, he tries to flip it. They're in cahoots. Who knows what happens? And Basho, the big muscly dude, writes a haiku out. It basically says his main ability is that when he writes a haiku, that it becomes reality, which is pretty dope. He writes one about the chair something exploding when he punches it, and he punches the chair just ignites in flames. So he writes another one. He basically says if anybody lies to him, they're going to hell. So he asks everybody, they all tell the truth. Gets to the last guy's forced to tell the truth. And it turns out that he was not only a bodyguard for them, he is a manipulator that controls dogs. So he controlled all the dogs to attack them as soon as they left, to make it harder for them to attack, for them to get away. So, girl with crazy hair, Baze, she kisses him, gets him to tell her what he controls, what the order was, basically makes him cancel out the order. They all leave. They all start introducing themselves, except for Kurapika. He's just like, I don't even know if I'm going to be working with y'all. I'll see y'all in a month. It cuts to Kurapika in the woods, basically talking about how he wants to use these people, the employers, to get in contact with other flesh collectors, and he just wants to tear them all down, because basically he blames them, their kind of people, for the reason the Kurtza got attacked, which makes sense. I mean, they keep collecting body parts, and one of the body parts that they want is the eyes of the Kurtza. After Kurapika says his thing about, tearing down these companies, we cut over to Killua's brother trying to reverse engineer the game. He's having some issues, but he's making progress. Once he realizes that the memory card is legit, he ends up putting a note on their family hawk, I guess, to go to Killua with the URL for the Hunter website that's supposed to have information on Greed Island. They get it, and it's literally going to Killua on the boat, getting to York New City. Apparently it's 2 weeks before they're supposed to meet up with Leorio and Kurapika, and they're going to spend that time trying to get information on Greed Island, and that's what the episode ends. So now the last episode starts off with Gon and Killua trying to look up information on Greed Island on the computer. They end up going to the Hunter website. They have to use Gon's Hunter ID to get on, and as soon as they get on, a big burst of Nen hits them and basically pulls them into the computer. They end up finding out some information about Greed Island. They had to pay, I think, $20 million just to get this information, something crazy, or 20,000. I don't remember what it was. It was some kind of crazy number. But basically, they find out that Greed Island was made with Nen. That every Nen was put into every copy of the game, and basically, when a Nen user starts the game up, they get pulled into the game. And that so many people have tried it, but almost none have come back from it. And that's all the information they were really able to get about it. So they decide they're going to start trying to buy rare items to sell and try and auction off and try to build up their money to make it to the auction. They do okay. They start building up quick, and then they make some bad purchases and they get stuck around 10 mil. It cuts back over to Kurapika and his new crew, I guess you want to call them. And all four of them managed to find one of the items that they needed. It was like some woman's hair, the arm of a mummy, the skull of a one-horned animal, and some kind of skin of some disease that they gave somebody scales. But they all get hired. They go to meet the boss. and they see a portrait of a dude. It's like a 3D portrait. It turns out it's actually a dude. He messed up and endangered the boss because of misinformation, and they killed him. They meet the boss, and it's this little girl, and she is mad creepy because she collects body parts, but she acts like she's the sweetest thing on the planet. We start seeing clips of the Phantom Troop, and this is where things start getting exciting. Now, I have seen bits and pieces of things that happen in this arc. It was one of the first things that turned me on to Hunter x Hunter. And I know Kurapika is going to fight that big dude. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know why they fight. All I know is that he ends up fighting that big dude, and I don't know when. But I know that dude's a monster. Now we go back to Kurapika in the group, and they are escorting their boss to her hotel. And inside the car, she gets a call. She calls her dad, and I guess her dad wants her to. She does fortunes for people. So some of his associates want their fortune told, and this is her doing it, and it's creepy because it looks like a ghost is like guiding her pen, and it's a creepy looking ghost. She does a bunch of fortunes. She's happy because she gets to go shopping, and it turns out they drove by some more of the Phantom Troop, and we get to see another clip of some more Phantom Troop members. They have some banter amongst themselves, but nothing really much happens after that. So it fast forwards to the evening, and the leader of their security team is reading the fortunes that she wrote for the associates, and they all start really, really cryptically about going downstairs to where money gets exchanged and all kinds of weird stuff. But it sounds super dark and super cryptic. I guess when she writes the fortunes, they're not 100% clear, but 4 people's fortunes started exactly the same way, and they all sounded like they're all going to die. So now they're worried about going there, and her father doesn't want her to go to the auction anymore. So he tells the head of the security, get her the hell out of here, get her home. It cuts back over to the Phantom Troop, and the last member of the Phantom Troop finally shows up, and it's Hisoka. So I got excited. Hisoka shows up. He basically explodes. Everybody's some people are happy to see him, some are talking shit, but then the leader gets up, and Hisoka makes this face. I guess he's got a thing for the Phantom Troop's leader, because that's pretty close to the face he made to Gon. Anyway, we get our first look at the leader of the Phantom Troop, and he basically tells them what he wants is he wants to steal every single thing from the auction. This auction is run by the worldwide mafia from gangs all over, and big guy gets all of them. It's just like, we're gonna make enemies of everybody. It's gonna be a huge deal. And he's like, "You're scared?" And he's like, "No, I'm excited. I'm so ready for this. Let's go. Let's do it." And he basically tells them that they can kill anybody that gets in their way. We get one last shot of our security team, and we get the outro of Kurapika getting ready for his next mission, and that's where this third episode ends. It was a lot of information, a lot of new characters, a lot of new setup, but this arc is looking like it's gonna be fire, and I can't wait to keep going. That's why I blew through so many episodes so fast. And if you guys enjoy this review, please drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I do a couple of these a week, and content every other day of the week. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.